From Baghdad, Iraq, tonight's headlines. An angry President Bush says he's sick and tired of Saddam's delays. An invasion force of 250,000 troops is almost complete. Iraqi citizens prepare for war.
Also tonight, attention Kmart shoppers. Hundreds of stores are closing. Tens of thousands of jobs are going. What do you do when the boss raises your health insurance costs? These workers went on strike. And flying high. U.S. pilots charged in friendly fire killings are blaming drugs the Air Force gave them.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting tonight from Baghdad and John Roberts from New York.
Good evening. President Bush's message reached here tonight loud, clear, and familiar. Disarm or else. The president says he sees no sign that Iraq is complying with UN orders to give up its weapons of mass destruction. And the president said he is, quote, sick and tired of games and deception. He is running out of patience, and he warns Saddam is running out of time. As the president spoke, U.S. war preparations accelerated. Thousands of Marines were departing from San Diego for the Persian Gulf.
Godspeed and good luck.
And Army forces were leaving Texas for deployment to the region. And in Turkey, a U.S. military team began assessing Turkish bases and port facilities for possible use by American forces that could strike Iraq from the north. Turkey has yet to give permission. In London today, Britain's Foreign Secretary said no further United Nations approval is needed to justify military action against Iraq. Germany has a different view. And UN Secretary General Kofi Annan said he's optimistic Saddam can be disarmed without conflict. And here in Iraq, UN weapons inspectors visited 10 sites scattered around the country, ranging from science centers and agricultural research facilities to a missile test site and a munitions depot. The chief inspector said today that his teams have found clear evidence that Iraq has smuggled in, quote, weapons-related material. He wants time to collect more proof. The U.S. military buildup in this region is moving forward. And CBS's David Martin reports that American forces could be ready to strike here in a matter of weeks.
In Savannah, crews are working round the clock to load heavy equipment for the Army's 3rd Infantry Division. At Fort Sill, Oklahoma, combat engineers are mustering in darkness.
Fields! Frazier!
And in San Diego, 7 amphibious ships and 7,000 Marines are scheduled to leave on Friday for the 25 to 30-day voyage to the Persian Gulf. By the middle of February, the U.S. will have more than 40,000 ground troops in Kuwait or on ships just offshore. Add air and naval forces plus troops in Turkey and Jordan, still a big if, and Iraq will be surrounded by a force of 200,000. Then the stage will be set for President Bush to make the decision whether to invade. To hear him tell it, he's in no mood to wait any longer than he has to.
Time is running out on Saddam Hussein. He must disarm. I'm sick and tired of games and deception.
If and when President Bush decides to go to war, U.S. officials say it won't start right away. The Pentagon would still need another week or more to deploy additional air and ground combat units, bringing the total invasion force to 250,000.
UN Secretary General Kofi Annan says he hopes the military buildup may yet convince Saddam to do the right thing.
We may be able to disarm Iraq peacefully without need to resort to war.
According to Annan, the inspectors are just now getting up to full strength. Soon they will have intelligence from American U-2 spy planes, which are about to start flying missions for the UN over both northern and southern Iraq. But in the past, Iraq has gone to great lengths to hide its weapons. And U.S. officials do not believe the inspectors will find a smoking gun unless an Iraqi official can be spirited out of the country so he can tell the UN where to look. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
One key part of the U.S. war plan that is not yet in place involves the role Turkey will play. Military bases there could be used as northern jumping-off points for a U.S. invasion force. But CBS's Richard Roth reports the Turks remain very reluctant allies.
These military inspectors are Americans at a base in Turkey, today starting to gauge what will be needed if U.S. troops and transport are sent to war in Iraq from here. Despite strong anti-war sentiment and some real fears, politicians say Turkey may not give the Pentagon all it's asked for, but won't stand in America's way.
I think there is a common understanding that the Turkish government is going to be willing to let American troops go through, but not stationed in Turkey in large numbers.
Among the worries about war here is the fear Turkey would be an easy target for Iraqi retaliation. It didn't help the anxiety when the government just today started distributing a new guide to personal protection from nuclear radiation. Turkey and its neighbors, for a diplomatic miracle to avoid war, haven't come up with much more than words of hope. This was Syria's foreign minister today.
Do you think it's avoidable? Still?
It should be avoidable if all the neighboring states of Iraq work together.
It's not friendship with Saddam Hussein that motivates them as much as fear of what happens if he goes. Syria and Turkey especially dread the chaos that could help ethnic Kurds in their countries and northern Iraq achieve ambitions for a state of their own and perhaps ignite a new crisis on a familiar pattern.
It will be from that point of view a new Israel being created on Arab land. And this time it won't be Israel, it will be some sort of a Kurdish ethnic state.
In fact, the Turkish army's already on Iraq's border, sentinels for a war, as well as what might follow one. Richard Roth, CBS News, Ankara.
Many Iraqi civilians now see war with the United States as inevitable and imminent. I'll be back later in this broadcast to show you what they're doing to prepare. Right now, John Roberts in New York with some of the other news of the day. John?
Thanks, Dan, and good evening from New York. The latest casualties in the war on terror are British police officers. One was stabbed to death and 4 were wounded during a raid on an apartment in the northern city of Manchester. 3 men of North African origin were arrested. One attacked the officers with a knife. The raid was part of an investigation prompted by the discovery of ricin, a deadly toxin, in London last week. China today offered to host any U.S. talks aimed at ending the nuclear dispute with North Korea. President Bush had no comment on that, but he did make the North Koreans an offer of his own. As Bill Plant reports tonight from the White House.
Today, President Bush made North Korea an offer of food and energy assistance if it promises to end its nuclear program. But it is an offer North Korea has already refused. What it wants are face-to-face talks with the Bush administration.
People say, well, are you willing to talk to North Korea? Of course we are. But what this nation won't do is be blackmailed.
But the threats keep coming. North Korea today warned that it is running out of patience and threatened to exercise other options, presumably a resumption of missile testing, followed by restarting its nuclear program. Pyongyang wants something that Washington isn't offering, a formal non-aggression treaty. The U.S. says that it is willing to talk to North Korea, but only about how to dismantle their nuclear program. But that probably won't be enough, says former State Department official Joel Witt.
Negotiations may not seem like the right way to go at this point. On the other hand, not negotiating, letting North Korea become a nuclear power has its own drawbacks. The least worst choice is to sit down and talk to them.
The Bush administration, which already has its hands full with Iraq, says no negotiations. It is trying to defuse the confrontation with North Korea by speaking softly and by asking China and Russia to help. So far, there's no sign that that's working. John?
Bill Plant reporting live for us tonight. Bill, thanks. Retail giant Kmart said today it hopes to get out of bankruptcy by the spring. But to do that, Kmart plans to close hundreds more stores, leaving the discount chain with 1,500, down from a peak of about 2,100. And as Jim Axelrod reports, tens of thousands of Kmart workers will lose their jobs.
The problem with Kmart is plain to see in their parking lots. Not enough shoppers, too many out-of-work employees.
Just gotta go to the unemployment line, I guess. You know, do what we gotta do.
After 15 consecutive months of declining sales, Kmart now says it will close 1 out of every 6 stores, cutting up to 37,000 jobs. 326 stores in 44 states plus Puerto Rico will be affected. Texas and Florida will be the hardest hit. All part of the plan to get out of Chapter 11.
If handled properly, Kmart clearly could emerge out of bankruptcy a healthy company.
When Kmart first filed for bankruptcy last year, it closed 282 stores, cut 22,000 jobs, and then proceeded to lose another $2.7 billion.
Get to Kmart.
Management's plan now is to cut payroll, feature exclusive merchandise like Martha Stewart housewares, and break expensive leases under the protection of Chapter 11. Now, if you listen to the optimists, Kmart might emerge from bankruptcy 2 months earlier than expected. Management now says it's lined up $2 billion in funding. Those are the optimists. And tonight, they are badly outnumbered. John?
Jim Axelrod reporting live for us tonight. Jim, thanks. Well, millions of Americans who have jobs are finding their employers are making them fork over higher co-payments this year for health insurance. Among them, employees of General Electric, who've now walked off the job in protest in more than 20 states. Anthony Mason reports on the rising anger over rising co-pays.
The first battle in what could become a corporate war over health insurance costs began last night as more than 17,000 union workers at General Electric walked off their jobs, starting a 2-day strike to protest an increase in their co-payments.
It's a slap in the face. We're seeing cutbacks in manpower, and now we're seeing cutbacks in benefits.
GE says those cuts will only cost the average worker $200 a year. The union says it'll be double that, and that GE can afford to absorb the cost.
This is not, ladies and gentlemen, an American corporation that is hanging on by its fingernails.
GE made more than $15 billion in profits last year, but the company says its annual health care premiums have soared by nearly $500 million since 1999.
Our profits went up about 7% in 2002. Our healthcare costs went up 14%. This is the most difficult cost issue that GE is facing as a company.
And GE is not alone. Nationally, employers' healthcare costs are skyrocketing, up double digits each of the past 2 years, according to a study by the Kaiser Family Foundation.
They are the biggest increases we've seen in more than a decade.
The foundation's Drew Altman says in a weak economy, many companies have little choice.
You can take it out of wages, or you can take it out of benefits, or you can do both, but there's no place else to go. And employers have told us in overwhelming numbers, expect more of the same next year.
So expect similar battles to be fought all over the country. Companies have been unable to rein in rising health insurance costs, and unless the economy turns around in a hurry, they're going to try to share the pain with their employees. John?
Anthony Mason tonight. Anthony, thanks. Coming up next on the CBS Evening News, the serial sniper case, a preview of the evidence against the teenage suspect.
When your eyes feel dry, irritated, there's Refresh brand eye drops. First, Refresh relieves and soothes, then forms a lasting shield of protection to keep irritation out and moisture in. #1 doctor recommended Refresh relieves and protects.
I remember when the doctors told us, it felt like our entire future got compressed into just a year. But we found out that we could get money ahead of time from Jim's insurance. We paid off the house and we set up trust funds for the kids. We took a vacation. That was a trip of a lifetime.
Insurance from Mutual of Omaha. For what really matters in life. Begin today.
A new patch from Nicotrol has all the strength you need to help beat cigarettes one craving at a time and help prevent nicotine from disturbing your sleep. And with Nicotrol, you're twice as likely to succeed than with cold turkey. The new Nicotrol Step Down Patch helps beat cigarettes one craving at a time.
Take care of your future now with Bayer Women's Aspirin Plus Calcium. Calcium for your bones, aspirin for your heart. Heart disease is the #1 killer of women. Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen and ask about Bayer Women's.
Post-shredded wheat is rich in whole grains and can help reduce your risk of heart disease. So it sounds as good to your ears as it does to your taste buds.
New Fix-It Complete Denture Adhesive. The strong hold you expect, plus more. A better fit. Fresher breath. Fewer stains. Less soreness. New Fix-It Complete. And forget it.
After that really fun party last night, you're faced with the morning after. No problem if you've got Clorox Ready Mop. It's the simple mopping system. Clorox Mop, Clorox Advanced Cleaning Solution, and disposable pad from Clorox. When you've got all three, you get the kind of clean you expect from Clorox. No wonder it's America's favorite mopping system. Clorox Ready Mop. Real mopping made simple.
Prosecutors began laying out their case today against the teenage suspect in the sniper shootings that terrorized the Washington, D.C. area. They're asking a judge to order him tried as an adult, which would subject him to the death penalty if convicted. CBS News correspondent Joey Chan reports from the courthouse in Fairfax, Virginia.
Legal experts say there's not much doubt 17-year-old John Lee Malvo will face trial as an adult. But this is the first glimpse he and his defense team have had of the case the prosecution intends to make against him. Malvo was unusually attentive as prosecutors presented their first witness, William Franklin, whose wife, FBI analyst Linda Franklin, was gunned down as the couple loaded their car in a Home Depot parking lot. Franklin choked back tears as he recalled, "I felt something hit me on the side of my face. I looked toward the rear of the car and saw my wife laying on the ground." Later, Franklin realized the spray he had felt on his cheek was his dying wife's blood. They also say they can prove Malvo tried to contact investigators in an effort to extort $10 million. They say his voice is on this police dispatch tape.
Where are the people that are causing the killing in your area? Look on the terror card. It says, "Call me God."
Prosecutors say they can link Malvo to another call and to 2 notes left for investigators. Malvo faces 2 potential death penalty counts in the Franklin case, one for multiple murder and one under Virginia's new anti-terrorism law. Under that statute, prosecutors don't even have to prove that Malvo was a triggerman, only that he was involved in an effort to intimidate the government. Nothing in the testimony is likely to explain what the community wants so badly to understand. What might have motivated a quiet, seemingly well-behaved teenager to join in the attacks that killed so many people and left so many more so afraid? John?
Joey Chan live tonight from Fairfax, Virginia. Joey, thanks. A new study indicates job applicants could be subject to racial discrimination based solely on their first names. Answering want ads in the Boston Globe and the Chicago Tribune, researchers sent out 5,000 resumes. Those using first names such as Neil, Brett, Jill, and Emily drew 50% more responses than resumes with names such as Tamika, Ebony, Rashid, and Tyrone. Coming up next on tonight's CBS Evening News, a military hearing for 2 U.S. pilots. They mistakenly killed friendly forces in Afghanistan. A mistake. But was it a crime?
I'm not taking any chances. I'm not putting it off a minute longer.
58% of women in their 50s have thinning bones, and risk increases with age. But a quick and painless bone density test can tell if your bones are thinning. If they are, this is the age of Fosamax. Fosamax once weekly is for postmenopausal women at risk for or with osteoporosis. It's proven to help reverse bone loss. You should not use Fosamax if you have certain disorders of the esophagus, are unable to stand or sit upright for 30 minutes, have severe kidney disease, or low blood calcium. Before use, talk to your doctor if you have stomach or digestive problems. Stop taking Fosamax and tell your doctor if you develop new or worsening heartburn, difficult or painful swallowing, or chest pain, because these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
Bone density test?
Bone density test. Sounds like a good idea to me. Ask your doctor about a bone density test and if Fosamax is right for you. This is the age of Fosamax, helping reverse bone loss.
I think arthritis can change the way you perceive yourself, if you let it. Fight back with Tylenol arthritis pain. Just 2 caplets in the morning have the strength to last all day.
Are you troubled by creditors? You're pre-approved. I guarantee it.
Go from fat to flat.
You've won a dream vacation.
Want to see my webcam?
Want a better way to block junk email?
Everybody loves Baklava.
crispier, flakier crust.
Switch to new MSN 8. Sign up now and get tougher junk email protection, plus 2 months free. It's better with the Butterfly. Call 866-TRY-MSN8 today.
When you run a restaurant, no matter what's on the menu, you're only serving one thing, taste. And if you can get great taste without the extra sugar, that's the best. That's why I use Equal. There's no aftertaste like with some sweeteners. You like rich, creamy cheesecake? I do. I make it at home too, and not with a ½ pound of sugar. I use Equal. Mocha Swirl. Great taste without the extra sugar. I love it. 0 calorie Equal. Have you tried it lately? Shh, they're coming.
Oh, what a time for a cold.
Nose is running, head's all blocked up. I need some Alka-Seltzer Plus.
Only Alka-Seltzer Plus has an effervescent cold-fighting formula that breaks up your worst cold symptoms fast. Alka-Seltzer Plus.
There is no disputing what happened. 2 U.S. military pilots on a run over Afghanistan bombed and killed 4 Canadian soldiers by mistake. Very much in dispute is why it happened and whether the pilots are criminally responsible. A military hearing opened today at Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana. And correspondent Bob McNamara is there.
Illinois Air National Guard pilots Majors Harry Schmidt and William Umbach are the first Air Force pilots ever charged with criminal actions in combat. The friendly fire incident killed 4 Canadian paratroopers and wounded 8 others last April when the pilots apparently mistook the Canadians' nighttime live-fire training exercise for Al-Qaeda anti-aircraft fire and bombed the unit near Kandahar.
They believed they were under attack. Had they been told prior to takeoff, after airborne, Canadian forces are down there doing training, this never would have happened.
Canadian Infantry Captain Joseph Jasper testified today that his unit was firing anti-tank weapons when it was bombed, that there was a communication breakdown. Facts backing the pilots' contention they were never warned of the Canadian exercise on the ground.
They absolutely did not commit criminal acts. Mistakes were made.
Another defense issue will be so-called go pills, the military's fatigue-fighting amphetamines the pilots took, but now believe may have skewed their judgment the night of the incident. The Air Force disputes that.
We use very, very minuscule amounts of the drug, which would most likely be the same as 2 or 3 cups of coffee.
The wives of the pilots, Harry Schmidt and William Umbach, believe their husbands are being used to cover chain-of-command blunders.
Maybe other people don't want to get in trouble, and so they want to blame it on the lowest man on the totem pole.
Canadian soldiers who were wounded in the incident have also been brought to the hearing to testify to events. Also here, the grief-torn parents of 29-year-old Sergeant Mark Leger, one of the paratroopers killed.
And I'm not here for any revenge. We just want to clarify what went on, and we don't ever want to see this happen again to anybody else.
The hearing is expected to take 2 weeks, and it could be at least another month after that before it's decided whether the pilots will face a court-martial or not. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Barksdale Air Force Base, Louisiana.
And that's the news here at home tonight. I'm John Roberts in New York. Let's go back now to Dan Rather in Baghdad. Dan?
And John, in just a moment, we'll show you how the people are preparing for another war when the CBS Evening News continues from Iraq.
Even with osteoarthritis, these arms still have a way with the ladies.
Celebrate, celebrate.
These legs hardly miss a beat.
Celebrate.
And these hands, these hands haven't lost their touch. Celebrate. There's Celebrex. Just one Celebrex lasts 24 hours and provides strong arthritis pain relief. People with aspirin-sensitive asthma or allergic reactions due to aspirin or other arthritis medicines or certain drugs called sulfonamide should not take Celebrex. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have kidney or liver problems. Ask your doctor to find out if prescription Celebrex is right for you and call 1-888-CELEBREX. Celebrex for strong 24-hour relief of arthritis pain.
At Red Lobster's all-you-can-eat shrimp celebration, you'll never have to use silverware. You'll never have to choose between freshly breaded shrimp and scampi. And you'll never have to stop. All-you-can-eat shrimp, right now at Red Lobster.
Do you know about the purple pill called Nexium?
I know.
I know.
You should know about it too. Talk to your doctor about whether Nexium is right for you.
Find out about the purple pill called Nexium.
Added with itching, flaking, dandruff, you need the Neutrogena T-Gel Power of 3. Unlike ordinary medicated shampoos, T-Gel works on all 3 major scalp conditions. Dermatologists recommend it number 1. Stop the itching and flaking. Switch to Neutrogena T-Gel. It works.
Lesson 1. Did you know a dog's muscles are rebuilt about every 45 days? In fact, his entire body is constantly rebuilding. But without enough protein in his food, the whole process slows down. That's why Purina One adult formulas are scientifically formulated with an unsurpassed level of high-quality protein to help you enhance your dog's life by keeping him strong and fit. Purina One brand. One can make a difference.
If you have a cold and high blood pressure, you should know that decongestants in these medicines can raise your blood pressure. So why take them? Take decongestant-free Coricidin HBP, powerful relief that won't raise your blood pressure.
Coming up tonight at 6, parents in one Middle Tennessee community are incensed by cameras being held in a middle school, and they want answers. We'll have that story and more tonight at 6.
It's after midnight in Baghdad now, and it's impossible not to feel the sense that war is near. Under Saddam Hussein, the Iraqi people have become well acquainted with war, and this time they know it may come to the very streets where they live. All around this bustling capital city, there are quiet preparations for yet another conflict. 20 years of war and 12 years of sanctions have made digging in almost routine. Families are stockpiling food, wheat, flour, rice, and oil. Many have stored up enough government rations to last at least several months.
Welcome.
Lika Aldiami and her family are like so many others here. What used to be their garden porch is now a bunker stored with emergency supplies. So what's in here? Kerosene?
Kerosene, yeah.
And what's in here?
Also kerosene, and here is water.
In gun shops, those who can afford it are buying weapons to defend themselves if need be, not against an invasion, but the chaos that may follow. But on nearly every street corner, from the copper souks of old Baghdad to the fruit markets of Saddam City, talk of war is mostly just background chatter to the everyday struggle to survive. Finding a sense of normalcy here is like hearing a familiar song. Even Baghdad's National Symphony Orchestra has managed to play on, despite the hardships Iraqis refuse to believe they have even partly brought on themselves. And that's part of our world. In Iraq, Dan Rather reporting. We invite you to join us again tomorrow for the CBS Evening News. From Baghdad, good night.
For news 24 hours a day, go to cbsnews.com. AOL keyword CBS News. Inside Iraq, Dan Rather continues our coverage from Baghdad tomorrow. Experience CBS News. From your